And even though it's in a week, I can tell you that there are two things that are going to definitely happen. Someone's going to get mad, but we're going to have a good time too. But these two things are completely opposite. Someone's going to get mad, but we're still going to have a good time. How can something like that happen and we still have a good time? Well, even though we're going to get mad at each other, we still love each other. And that's the reason why we're still going to have a good time, because we love each other. But what is love? How come love can do anything if it's true? Well, first thing, love is life. Love is life because God made us out of love. In John 3:16, it says, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever may believe in him shall not perish but have everlasting life." Now, if you look back, it said, "For God so loved the world." He's reference to us. He loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son. He made the world out of love. In Genesis 1:1, it says that God created heaven and earth. He could have created him a place where he could rest and be happy and enjoy all of his eternity by himself. But he was willing to make people that he knew that he would have to take care, that he would have to look after, and that he would have to love. That is why love is life, because God made us out of love. Love is also obedience. In John 14:15, it says, "If ye love me, keep my commandments." Well, how do we know his commandments? How do we know how to obey him? Well, we have his holy scripture, the Bible, which was inspired by God. But what do we need to follow? Where do we find in the Bible what we need to do? It's everywhere. One of the places that you can find it is in Matthew chapter 22, verses 37 through 40. Matthew 22, verses 37 through 40. And it says, "Jesus said unto him, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and all thy soul and with all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment. And the second is like it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. On these two commandments hang all the laws and the prophets." It's telling us that if we love God with all our hearts, with all our soul, and with all our mind, and if we love our neighbors like ourselves, that everything should fall in place. If it's true, and if we're doing it in the right way, then everything should fall in place. Love is a verb. What is a verb? A verb shows action. And if love is a verb, then love is action. Our love should have action in it. We should not just love, we should show our love. We need action in our love. But it can also be the other way around. We can have good actions, but without love, is it really good? Do we gain anything? Should we be doing it if we're doing it without love? In James chapter 2, verse 21, it tells us that a faith without works is dead. And so if faith without works is dead, then love without action should be dead. And action without love should be dead. So we don't gain anything if we don't have love. Also, in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, it tells us what lots of good deeds that we could do. But without love, it's nothing. Without love, it profits nothing. Without love, it will be dead. Love is everlasting. And everlasting is endless. Everlasting is the same. That's what your love should be. It should be the same. Your love should be everlasting and the same every time. Whenever you meet someone, you should have the same love for them. When you meet someone that's a little bit different, it should be the same love. If you met the person 1,000 times, it should be the same love. If you're mad at the person, you should still love them at the end, and you should still love them when you're angry. When you're sad and there's a person, you should love them. Your love needs to be the same. God's love has always been the same. In Psalms 103, verse 17, His love is everlasting to everlasting. Now, all this stuff, if you look at it, there's all these many pieces, and if you have all the pieces, you get a big picture. But if you leave one piece out, you have a picture with a missing piece. Now, it may be one of the smallest things, but still, it doesn't feel right, it doesn't look right, and it isn't right. You need to have all the pieces for it to be true, and you need all the pieces so it's actual love. So this is a lot of stuff. We are just humans. How can we hold up? How can we follow all of these directions? How can we follow all of this? Because we're going to eventually miss one of them at some point. We might find it at the end, but it was that period of time that we didn't have one of them. So, but it did happen one time. It happened only one time. His name was Jesus. He was the only person. He came down from heaven in man form. He was in flesh, and he lived all these things. He did all these things through his whole life. He did every one of these things. That's actual love right there. That's the love that we need. His love was an example of what our love should look like. He's given his love even now. Even when he's in heaven, he's still giving the love. He's giving it to everybody. We just need to see it, and we need to take it. This is an opportunity that you do not need to miss. His love is the greatest example of love. And I would like to invite you now to his love.